On Thursday, the state of Oklahoma carried out its first lethal injection in 9 months since the bungled execution of Clayton Lockett in April. Charles Frederick Warner was pronounced dead at 7:28 p.m., 18 minutes after the execution began. Warner was given a dosage of 500 milligrams of the drug midazolam, 100 milligrams more than Clayton Lockett was in April. He was also executed using 2 veins. Lockett was executed using a single vein in his groin, which was later found to be a cause of much of the problems, improperly placed IV in the femoral artery, which caused the drugs to leak into his muscle tissue. That execution lasted 43 minutes. Only 5 media witnesses were permitted to witness the execution of Charles Frederick Warner. Since the renovations to the death chamber, 7 media seats were removed, and the number of media witnesses were reduced from 12 to 5. The 5 media witnesses said that Warner essentially gave his last words. Over the next several minutes, his breathing began to slow, and in the last 5 minutes of his life, there was virtually no movement. From all accounts, it seemed to be a peaceful execution, if you can call it that, and definitely a departure from what happened to Clayton Lockett in April.
Okay, my name's Sean Murphy. I'm a reporter for the Associated Press. The shades were lifted at 7:08 p.m. Mr. Warner was strapped to the gurney with both arms, IV lines in both arms. He was asked to give his last words, and he said, quote, "Before I give my final statement, I'll tell you they poked me 5 times. It hurt. It feels like acid. I'm sorry for all the pain that was caused. I'm not a monster. I didn't do everything they said I did. I love people. I love my family. I love Jesus. Tell my baby girl she means the world to me. Thanks for being a wonderful mother," he said to his family members that were there. "Thanks for being a beautiful sister. I love everybody. Thank you. It feels like acid." The execution began at 7:10. Mr. Warner said, "My body is on fire." At this point, his microphone was turned off. He said, "No one should go through this. I'm not afraid to die. We's all going to die." At 7:12, his head began to rest on the gurney. His tongue was rolling around in his mouth. His eyes appeared to get heavy. His breathing became labored. His eyes started to close. At 19:14, he still appeared to be breathing. At 7:16, a member of the execution team wearing a surgical mask and scrubs came in to test to see if Mr. Warner was sedated. He lifted his head, he rubbed his eyelashes, and then someone announced that it had been confirmed that he had been sedated. Then over the next several minutes, his breathing became more, appeared to be more, less obvious that he was breathing. His breathing slowed. His chest was still expanding and contracting at 7:20. About 30 seconds later, about 7:20 and 30 seconds, his breathing appeared to stop as far as I could tell. There was no movement. His eyes were closed. His mouth was slightly open. His eyes did slowly come open over the next several minutes. There was no change at all from 7:23 until the time of death was declared at 7:28. Director Patton entered the room, announced that the execution was complete, declared the time of death to be 7:28, and the blinds were lowered.
Question?
I'll take a question or two if you got
No
it.
indication of suffering or...
He didn't appear to be suffering other than his statements that said he appeared to, that it felt like acid. But he didn't show any obvious signs of distress.
He said that before the actual shooting.
That's right. And then he said it again after the execution had started and he first got the first dose. He did say, "My body is on fire."
Did he just say it, or did he kind of yell it louder, or say it louder, or like how did
He said it loud enough to where we could hear it and the mic was not on. The second time he said it was. Right. Didn't appear to be. So.
first thing he said when he came in, he looked at us and said, five. He was looking actually toward his attorneys. Then later on, he said that he had been poked 5 times. We're assuming that that's what he was talking about when he first came in.
Both his mother and sister there, sitting on the other side of the windows watching, comforted each other throughout the time. Quiet tears.
His pastor was also there. He also thanked him.
For the Oklahoman and NewsOK.com, I'm Graham Lee Brewer reporting from the State Penitentiary in McAlester, Oklahoma.
Curry, how about grabbing the end? One of you get in the middle.